Spencer, and I'm here to talk about the topic of homeschool versus public school. And my main claim is that homeschooling is better for a child's development than public school. With 850,000 students being homeschooled in 1999 to over 2 million today, and still continuing to rise, it is clear Americans are finally realizing that homeschooling offers much more for their children than public school system. Today we'll be talking about 3 secondary claims. The first of which is homeschool students have better socialization skills than their peers in public school. Students that are homeschooled have day-to-day interactions with different levels of society. Unlike public school students who are trapped behind walls all day long, homeschool students can extend their learning into the community. For example, homeschool students can travel out into the community to everyday places like grocery stores where they learn real socialization abilities and are reinforced with these abilities every day, and these abilities will stay with them throughout their life. Dr. Thomas Medley of Radford University in Virginia administered the Vineyard Adaptive Behavior Skills Test, which evaluates skills in communication, socialization, and daily living. Homeschool students placed in the 84th percentile on this test, whereas public school students only placed in the 23rd. Homeschool students also are less worried about their peers and social pressures of the public school system. Also, 98% of homeschool students said that they had 2 or more extracurricular activities, such as a sports or a club, compared to other public school students. My second secondary claim is that homeschool students have higher academic ability overall. On the SAT and ACT scores of homeschool students, they were generally higher than compared to public school students. According to research reported by CBS, homeschool students have a higher GPA than their public school rivals, 3.41 for the freshmen of high school homeschool students compared to 3.12 of freshmen of public school. The trend continues into college. The students that were originally homeschooled had an average of a 3.46 in their 4th year of college compared to a 3.16 for students that were originally public schooled in high school. This homeschooling advantage also continues into the graduation rate, where 66.7% of homeschool students graduated college, where 57.5% of the entire population graduated college, so they're still above the bar. My third secondary claim is that homeschool students grow up to become more involved in community and politics. According to homeschoolfacts.com, homeschool students are more likely to feel a connection to the community they grew up in. 71% of adults who are homeschooled as children take part in activities such as clubs and volunteering services, when 37% of students that were public school take part in the same communities. 95% of homeschooled adults that were surveyed had adequate knowledge of the community, politics, local government, when 65% of students that were originally homeschooled or public schooled, it was only 65% of them had the same knowledge. And on the same survey, adults that were homeschooled as children had 88% chance of being part of an organization such as a church, more volunteer programs, or professional organizations such as things that relate to their career, whereas 50% out of the adults that were originally public school, 50% of them were involved in the same groups. And in conclusion, with homeschooling on the rise an average of 4% per year, along with the evidence presented here today, there's no doubt that homeschooling children leads to a better social and academic development, which will prove to be a great asset for them the rest of their lives. Thank you.
All right, the proposition stated pretty clearly. Instead of a preview, you really just signpost the first point and then go into the speech, so there's no preview. You do signpost all of the individual points as you get to them, so it's not that it's that hard to follow the structure, but I think it's, for casual listeners especially, you want the setup so it makes it easy even for people who are being a little bit lazy to keep up with where you're going. I thought on the first point that you're a little dependent on hypothetical examples, and then there was the start. We got a lot of data, statistical data that's being presented, and most of it supports your position, but it does begin to sound a little bit like a data dump. You're giving us a lot of statistics in a row. I think you could punctuate some of those with some examples to show what it really means. For example, you've got the one study that you cite where they fall into the 84th percentile compared to public school students who are in the 23rd percentile. This is like the Vineyard study and his standard. But you never tell us what that standard is, what it represents, and even some vague hypotheticals would make it a little bit more useful. The closest you get is talking about they go to the grocery store and they interact with people there. I'm going, and why is this an important social skill? Of course, what do I know about that? It's very important to be able to do those kinds of things. And I felt a little bit like you were rushing during the presentation. You had a lot of data, especially on that second point. The third point, you started to present some of the sources that came from the homeschooling groups. And I'm not suggesting that they're biased, but of course, the more independent data that you had earlier, I think, strengthens your argument a little bit more. All right, thank you.